Good evening, it's November. That means we're gearing up to festive season, December, Christmas, brand new year. But hey, November at the Department of Health and worldwide, it's the Red Ribbon Month. And we are in ZFM in the town of Uppington. And of course, bringing Ncdohtv to ZFM and Healthy Living. I'm Malika, the man of the mind as such. And as usual, we chat all things health. Remember, the responsibility of your health lies squarely on your shoulders. Tonight, it's not different. I'm speaking to Zingisile Novaso, who is the HIV Prevention Manager in the ZFM district. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Good evening, sir.
How are you doing? How's ZFM?
ZFM is actually welcoming.
Oh, yeah?
And, I'm sure you'll enjoy it here.
Yeah, no, when we arrived here, there was balloons. And Now, back to the business. What is the significance of the Red Ribbon Month?
Look, speaking about the Red Ribbon, actually it's one of the universal symbol for awareness and support for people living with HIV. And especially during this time of November, where there is build-ups taking place in the running towards World AIDS Day, South African AIDS Council actually wants us to have different talks, to have HIV testing sites, and create more awareness about the running up towards the World AIDS Day. And it's also a symbol of remembering those who actually passed away due to HIV. And there are different ways of actually having this built up, because it is done by districts, different districts at different provinces. That's where it normally would start before, because we normally do that before the final one, which is the national one. Then after the district ones, you would get the provincial one. And then thereafter, it's where the deputy president and the South African AIDS Council will then commemorate the national one. And it's a good strategy because it's actually also enforcing, in a way, a lot of different private sectors to be part of this and actually also assist with funds in the name of HIV prevention.
So each and every person in the Northern Cape, get yourself a red ribbon, put it on each and every day in remembrance of those who lost their lives to HIV and AIDS. And I remember a little boy called Nkosi Johnson,
Yes.
who was the beacon and an icon of HIV and AIDS in South Africa. We're talking about people like that who are advocates of this terrible disease. And also, you could have one in your family that has passed on or could be HIV positive now. So let's wear those red ribbons and make sure that we remember and we're in solidarity with those who passed on with HIV and AIDS. Now, HIV has been around in the country for quite a while. And what would you say are the symptoms of HIV and AIDS? Well, especially HIV, what should we look at?
Look, for HIV, it's very difficult to be specific and say, look for 1, 2, 3, because it varies from person to person. But the most important thing there for people is to actually go and test. Some are saying, no, you might be having fever, headache, and sore throat. And then when you have the virus, actually, after you've tested, there's different stages that takes place. And normally those stages would increase from stage 1 to stage 4, only if you are not on treatment. If you remember before, we used to treat and wait, meaning that we can tell you that you don't need to take treatment for some time. Now the policy have changed. Now we treat and test, because we have noticed that the sooner we treat you, we prolong all those any other symptoms that are actually brought by external or other illnesses, for an example, TB, cryptomeningitis, and those things. So we don't want you actually to convert very quick from HIV to AIDS. Hence, we would say the sooner you test without even any symptoms, the better for you that you would know, and then we'll put you on treatment to delay any illnesses and any other factors that can contribute towards you getting or converting from HIV to AIDS.
And these are people that are already tested positive. Am I correct?
Yes, those ones. Look,
that you put on treatment immediately.
Yes. Look, what we say is there's a say that says everyone is positive until you test. So hence, the universal treatment of infection control is you treat the unknown as it's positive. Hence, we're saying everyone that is unknown, regardless of whether there's symptoms already or not, the best thing that you can do now is to make sure that you test. After you've tested, there's different management systems that are in place for the outcome of the test. There is actually a management system for HIV negative people, then that you will want you to remain actually HIV negative. There's now the HIV prevention strategy part of it, and then there's the art part, which we put you on ARVs when you have tested positive. So as I'm saying, you will not really know the symptoms very quick, because one person might cough and one might not while they are positive. So the best way to know for you would be to go for a free, very important, a free HIV test.
Now, you spoke about ARVs, and is it the only treatment to HIV and AIDS?
Currently, that's what we have. That's what we are using in South Africa. It's ARVs. That's the one that I know of. The other infection that are coming with HIV obviously will be treated differently according to what it is. But for HIV itself, it's actually ARVs. And the nice thing about the ARVs that we are having is that, if you recall, before we used to give three tablets, three different tablets. Now it's actually combined to one single pill per day, which makes it easier for people to actually take HIV treatment.
Now, what do ARVs actually do? What are the benefits of taking this treatment?
One, it delays the growth of the virus in your body. That's the most important one. And when that happens, the virus does not grow. This is why we do the viral load test to check whether there's any growth in your body about the virus itself. So it really makes it dormant. It makes it slip to a way, if you take your treatment every day, according to how it's prescribed, it can even be undetectable when it's tested at the lab. And it's one way whereby you don't get all those other infections, example TB and any other related infections towards AIDS and HIV. So it's preventing a lot of things actually, and it's prolonging your lifelong span when it comes to those ARVs.
So I guess that would be the consequences then of not taking your treatment accordingly or adhering to treatment.
Yes, look, if you don't adhere to treatment, the danger of starting treatment and not adhering is as follows. Number one, you might get resistant because they're very sensitive medications. So once you take them, please don't stop them, because the more you stop them and take them, you stop them, they might end up not working, because that's how unfortunately they are. So they want to be taken. Once you start them, you must take them, because it's a lifelong treatment. You must take them for the rest of your life. And then the moment you don't take them, you create the resistance, and when you create the resistance and then don't work, then you are actually inviting all these opportunistic infections, which is TB, meningitis, and so on. And when you do that, that's when now you go from stage 1, like I said before, to a higher stage. So to remain on stage 1, it's actually best. And the only way you can do that is to make sure that when you've tested positive, take your treatment and take it on time. And I know a lot of people would say, yeah, but on weekends I want to drink and I want to enjoy myself. What if I forget to take the treatment? If you remember in the olden days, people who love Generation, we used to use the example of Generation a lot to say, have a time whereby you would know that before 8, you have an alarm or something that you set up. And we used to tell them, if you have a TV and you are watching Generation, link it to that you know when Generation starts, it should be probably your time to take treatment, because it's one tablet. And if you have forgotten to take the treatment and it's 10 or 11, just go and take it. It will still be fine. And also, if you're drinking alcohol, the advice always is, before you go and enjoy yourself and drink, take the tablet. Because the unfortunate part is that alcohol itself sometimes blocks the door, to say it for laymen to understand. It blocks the door where the treatment must enter to go and work. Hence, we are asking people to take treatment before they go and drink alcohol.
Wow. So don't be resistant to ARVs. It's the only treatment we have. And once they don't work with you, there's no other treatment. We are talking Red Ribbon Month, and we are speaking to the HIV Prevention Manager in the ZFM district, Ntate Zingisile Novaso. We'll be right back, and be part of the conversation. Drop in a comment, go and like, like, swipe, share. Yeah. We'll be right back after this.
My name is Zodwa Mapija. I'm a pharmacist assistant at Mental Hospital and TB Hospital. I'm here to advise you how to discard of expired medication. The first thing that you need to check on is the expiry date, which you will find on your package. So when you see that your medication is expired, it's important for you not to discard it in the water drainage or in the bins. So you take it back to your facility where you received it. You give it back to the pharmacist or the pharmacy personnel so that they are the one to discard it properly.
Welcome back to Healthy Living on Ncdohtv, brought to you by the Department of Health in the Northern Cape. As I've said before, we are in ZFM district, and of course we are speaking to Zingisile Novaso, who is the HIV Prevention Manager in this district. We're talking all things Red Ribbon Month, which is November month, when we plead with you to put on your red ribbon each and every day as an ordinary person in remembrance of those who lost their life or their battle with HIV and AIDS. And earlier on, we're talking about the antiretrovirals, that once you start drinking them, you need to carry on. It's a chronic disease. It's chronic medication. You need to drink those or take your tablets, ARVs, all your life. And it's the best thing to do for yourself so that you can continue supporting and being there for your family and friends. Now, how can stigma be reduced around the chronic disease? Earlier on we were talking of air to say that, some people see somebody that's a bit chubby, that's fully figured, and immediately when that person starts losing weight, it's, low. So how do we reduce that type of things and stigma within our communities?
I think awareness, one of them. We must increase actually awareness. People need to know what HIV actually is. And I normally say we must not divorce HIV from any other chronic diseases. We normally in health, we go the integrated way. We've got an integrated management system, meaning that we treat a person holistically. We are no longer having that room that one is for HIV and that one is for that. Everyone is treated equally. But the most important thing now in the society itself is to empower people who are living with HIV, number one, to be able to easily open up about HIV so that people can see that actually Zingisile, HIV being negative, and Zingisile being HIV positive is still the same Zingisile. There's no difference. I think people in the olden days had that fear that HIV was treated like a malady. So the more we don't isolate HIV positive people and treat them normal as any other people, and then it will also be something that we are fighting against the stigma. Because I always say stigma is actually created by how you treat the people. And the more you isolate them, and the more you increase the stigma. So I would say let's have inclusive care in our system. And let's make sure that we teach people in terms of what is really HIV and how should each and every person treat HIV and how easily it is actually to get. And let them also understand that no one is immune to HIV. You might be the richest person on earth. Unfortunately, the virus does not look at it. So the more you treat yourself as someone that is possible to get this virus, the better you will want to look down on others that are having it. And I think it's mostly just teaching and treating and empowering our peer educator systems where peers can teach one another, because it's also been proven that it's actually a good system, that one of peers teaching one another. So those are the systems that we can try and use to fight against the fight for stigma. And then you also get now people whereby the key population that we're having it's also, I mean, it's one way of also making sure that you sensitize the issue of the key population, you bring them closer. And now I'm talking now about now men having sex with men, lesbians, all those. And I think it's about time that we teach people also that they are also part of us, number one. Number two, they must not be ill-treated when they go to our facilities, because it's one of the ways that if you ill-treat the key populations, you also increase stigma when it comes to HIV, because then it's not easy for them to even come and open up, because already I am HIV positive, for an example, and you're already treating me by who I am. So you're increasing even me coming out and being able to say that I'm HIV positive.
Now, you find about 2,000 young people that, some of them have been born with the disease. How do we then encourage them and so that they can navigate through life easier? Those psychological effects that this illness might have. I mean, being a young person and knowing that you are born with HIV positive, in some young people, it might just affect them psychologically. How do we then encourage them?
Yes, indeed. And a lot of them are actually getting depressed, and they are committing suicide, and some of them, they don't listen to their parents and all those things, and we just treat the symptoms without actually going to the root cause. But I would say, we've got psychologists currently, and that are assisting. We've got social workers that are assisting. So I would say it's best that they come forth and seek assistance, because systems are actually in place in the Department of Health to assist them. Because we even have different ways on how to disclose, for one example, because, one thing also that we've noticed is you might empower the youth in knowing the status and how dealing with it. But if someone who's looking after them becomes weak after they've heard the status, you automatically sometimes make the person who have been empowered also weak. So with that, I would say we must include the index. Index means that it's your family, it's your partners, if you have got partners, if you've got children, is to include your children, so that we don't deal with you, just you as the person, but we deal with the supporting structure that you have around you in terms of education, in terms of awareness, so that they are also empowered as well. And when they are also empowered, they can actually assist the youth that are HIV positive or living with HIV to be more acceptable. But even if those strategies don't work, the Department of Health still have professionals, like I've said before, the psychologists and the psychiatrists and the social workers that can assist.
Now, earlier on, you spoke about the prevention strategies for HIV and AIDS. Tell us about them.
In the olden days, we used to sing ABC. Do you remember? You would say A, you must abstain. And if you see all me and abstaining, and especially us, young men, abstaining is not meant, it's not meant for me. We would say, at least in China. Try at least then to be faithful, have one partner, and even that is like, I can't have one partner. Then we'll say, okay, at least if you fail on that stage, go and condomize. Then you'll still get people who are saying, condom is not consistent. And we always say, when you condomize, it's a correct usage of condoms and consistent. So if you're not consistent, unfortunately, you'll need to then be taught, let's add. Well, then we add PEP. PEP means that if it happened that the condom had busted, or you did not use a condom for one reason or another, within 3 days, which is 72 hours, you must go to your nearest facility and inform them. They will test you, because PrEP, it's for it's for HIV negative people that have been exposed. It's post-exposure prophylaxis. You take it within 3 days. And it will also assist you in preventing of HIV. However, they must test you, and if you are HIV negative, you will be eligible for PEP, and if you are HIV positive, you will then be put on ART. Then we also have PrEP. PrEP is the one that we currently are using, and that one is also for HIV negative people. And so it's we are just adding. No one is actually substituting another. It's just an addition to the different strategies that we are having, because we want people to remain actually HIV negative.
Now, this PrEP, there's a lot of confusion amongst our communities on how it works. How do you take it? Do I take it the day before I'm having the sex? Or how do you take PrEP?
Okay. Look, before you even take PrEP, there's a risk assessment that they will do to you. Number one, they will ask you at the clinic whether are you having sex with a partner that is known who's HIV positive. The second one would be, are you having sex when you are under the influence of drugs or alcohol? The other one would be, are you having sex with multiple partners? And are you having sex with someone who is just whereby the status is unknown? If you remember before, I said to you that unknown status should also always be treated as positive because you don't know. Yes. So the moment one of those questions is yes, then you are eligible for PrEP. PrEP is taken actually for first 7 days without exposure, meaning that you will condomize for the first 7 days, and then on day 8 you can then probably start. I wouldn't say without a condom, but the exposure, if the exposure is taking place, make sure that it doesn't take place before the 7 days. And it's also 1 tablet each and every day. And hence I say to you is risk-based. So if you say, but no, one of the questions or 2 of them were yes, now all of them are no, I'm no longer at a higher risk in terms of HIV exposure, I want to stop PrEP. Please do not stop PrEP on your own. Go and inform the clinic that you want to stop PrEP so that they can inform you what to do, because they will then ask you to still take it for at least 21 days after the last exposure. And each and every time when you go for your follow-ups, they will do different tests. And one of those tests will be HIV. Because the moment there's a seroconvert, meaning that you've been always negative and now you're positive, PrEP will be stopped, and then you will have to take the ART, which is the ARVs.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the time we had today. Very, very informative. Now I think our communities know how PrEP works. It's not a substitution to a condom. It's only an addition to a condom. So while you're on PrEP, still continue to use your condom of way too. You can never be too safe. Let's stay safe out there, and let's make sure that we protect each other. If you think or you say or you claim you love your partner, love them enough to use a condom. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
This evening.
It's
Zingisile Novaso, who is the HIV Prevention Manager in the ZFM district, and we are in Uppington. And thank you so much for joining us. Please do join us once again next week on Wednesday, 7 o'clock sharp, for yet another exciting episode of Healthy Living on Ncdohtv, brought to you by the Department of Health in the Northern Cape. Red Ribbon Month, let's go get our ribbons, put them on up until January. And let's all be safe out there. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.